bondage. Hosea 11:4.
I drew them with cords of a man, with bands of love, and I was to them as they that take off the yoke of their jaw.
And so we have here explained to us now in prophecy now what's supposed to happen later on down the line. When we now going to have the Mashiach now, what was the word before yoke again?
Bands.
To release. Did it say something about release from the jaws?
Yeah, I would take off the yoke.
I would take off the yoke.
On their jaw.
Yeah, from their jaws. So these were taken off. So we see now how this whole thing is playing out because the Father is going to actually now grant redemption even for Northern Kingdom, which is Ephraim. All right, so I just wanted to bring that out. Was anyone tonight?
And I laid meat unto them.
Okay, hallelujah. Now I'm going to finish reading, okay, Matthew, the 21st chapter, down to 21. Saying to them, go into the village over against you, and straightway you shall find an ass tied, or in bondage, and a colt with her. Loose them, plural, and bring them unto me into the Mashiach. And if any man say unto you, you shall say, Yahuwah have need of them, and straightway he will send them. All this was done that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, tell you the daughters of Zion, behold, your king cometh unto you, meek and sitting upon an ass, and a colt, and the foal of an ass. We'll get into that a little bit later, all right? We just speed it up here a little bit. And the disciples went and did as the Messiah or Mashiach commanded them, and brought the ass and the colt, and put on them their clothes, and they laid him thereon. And a very great multitude spread their garments in the way. Others cut down branches from the trees and strayed them in the way. When we talk about here cutting down these palm trees, when you go to the book of Revelation, the 2nd chapter, it even talks about another festival where Israel now is cutting down palm trees, okay, and laying them down before the Mashiach. This is also talking about another festival. Okay, so all of this is fitting like a hand in the glove for me, but there's still some that say, you know what, there's no Mashiach. I don't get it. All right, so they say, listen, you know what, it got to the point where this thing has gotten so personal to me. I just told this story right quick, is that it's kept me up like all night, all last week. This particular brother, everybody pretty much, I don't have to keep mentioning his name, but he just went totally left. Okay, there's no Mashiach, looking over scriptures and things of that sort and everything, like all this division that's coming upon Israel with the Mashiach, and I really just can't see it. And I just leave it, I don't want to get into all that. But it gets kind of troubling, really, really troubling. Verse 6, and the disciples went and did as Messiah commanded them, and brought the ass, and I read that. Verse 9, and the multitude that went before, and they followed, crying, saying, Hosanna to the Son of Dawood, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Father. This is my point. The Mashiach came in the name of the Father. I don't see anywhere where the Mashiach is taking on himself and saying, listen, you know what, I am the Father. He's speaking in the name of the Father. I don't see anywhere again where the Mashiach is taking any esteem away from the Father. All the works that I do it in the name of my Father. Okay, whatever. Hosanna is the highest. And when he was come into Jerusalem, all the city was moved, saying, who is this? And the multitude said, this is Yahushua, the prophet of Nazareth of Galilee. Now, that's another problem. Where does it say that Yahushua, Mashiach, is going to be born in Nazareth? So this now disqualifies the Mashiach from being the Mashiach because of that whole thing right here. Everybody should know now, we've talked about this so many times, that word now is netzer. He should be called a netzer. The Hebrew word for netzer is the branch. He should be called the branch. All right? You go to the book of Yashra'al, the 11th chapter, verses 1 through 3. He goes into that whole thing where, let's just go to it right quick. Real quick. Isaiah 11. There shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch should grow out of the shoot, and the ruach of Yahuwah should rest upon him, the ruach of wisdom, understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge, and the fear of Yahuwah. So all of this now is going to come upon this son of David, this Netzer, this branch, which is all referring to the Mashiach. All the Mashiach. All right? Speed it up here a little bit. Verse 12, and Messiah went into the temple of the Father and cast out all them that sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves. Now, verse 12, we see what the Mashiach is doing. He's doing this now on the 10th day. Okay? Yashra'al is about to be delivered out of Egypt. Now, but the prophetic shadow picture now, when he's cleaning out the house, the temple, the Hakal, what he's actually doing now is that he's removing the leaven. There's leaven inside of the temple. What we're supposed to be doing now is removing the leaven out of our temples. And the reason why is because Israel is about to be delivered out of Egypt. So when he's getting rid of all the money changers and all the lies and all the selling inside of the temple, it's a prophetic shadow picture of what's supposed to be actually happening inside of you. So he's cleaning the temple first. And the Mashiach went into the temple of the Father and cast out all them that sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves. And he said unto them, it is written, my house. Okay, then, and that word house is going to be very, very important. Okay, that is very important. This base on by that base, this house, you don't belong to yourselves, all right? You don't have any right to say what you can and what you can't do. The Mashiach just said right here that this house belongs to the Aleph. This is the Father's house, and you cannot condemn the Father's house. You're about to have somebody die for your transgressions, all right? We were granted mercy in the wilderness because the nation of Israel was supposed to have died. Moses stood in the way, and he said, listen, I can no longer deal with you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send my messenger. The messenger came, and the messenger said that the house belongs to the Aleph, the Father. Easy, right? 1, 2, 3. Again. And he said to them, it is written, my house shall be called the house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves. So again, it's very important that we follow Torah. We can't make our temples, our bodies now, a house or a den of thieves. And the blind and the lame came to him in the temple, and he healed them. Okay, so this is our responsibility. And when the chief priests and scribes saw the wonderful things that he did, and the children crying in the temple, saying, Hosanna to the son of Dawood, they were sore displeased, and said unto him, hearest thou what these say? And the Messiah said unto them, you never read, out of the mouth of babes and suckling hast perfected praise. In sucklings thou hast perfected praise. Verse 17. And he left them and went out of the city into Bethany, and he lodged there. Now in the morning, as he returned to the city, he hungered. We talked about this before. And when he saw a fig tree in the way, he came to it and found nothing thereon but leaves only, and said unto it, let no fruit grow on hence. What do you have after that? Forever, right? And we talked about this before, that that's not correct. It did not say forever. It says until an age. Until an age, all right? And when the Talmudims or the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, how soon is the fig tree withered away? This fig tree, like I talked about before, is very, very important. All right? The fig tree. I read from my notes here. If it be the Father's, 15, okay. If it be the Father's will, I should have my, my MacBook, and I'll be good to go. And all of that good stuff here. Let's go to the book of Luke, the 13th chapter, verses 6 through 9. And let's have our Moreh, our executive Moreh, Eliyahu, to read that for us. The book of Luke, the 13th chapter, verse 6 through 9.
Luke 13, verse 6 through 9.
Uh-huh.
He spake also this parable. A certain man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came and sought fruit thereon, and found none. Then said he unto the dresser of the vineyard, Behold, these 3 years I come seeking fruit on this vineyard.
How long?
These 3 years.
3 years. Very important. Read on.
These 3 years I've come seeking fruit on this fig tree, and find none. Cut it down. Why cumbereth it the ground? And he answered said unto them, and he answering said unto them, Sorry, let it alone this year also, till I shall dig about it, and dung it. And if it bear fruit, well. And if not, then after that thou shalt cut it down.
Cut it down. All right? Cut it down. Now, we had talked about before that the fig tree represents the nation of Israel. All right? Yashra'al. Okay, we read from the notes here. I had to exhaust this here, all right, because I had to put a whole lot of things together here. The fig tree represents the nation of Yashra'al. I took a closer look at the parable, and we read in verse 6, it says, a certain man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, right? The first question that comes to our mind is this: what is the fig tree doing in the vineyard? The vineyard is where you grow grapes, not figs, all right? So that was just something that I put together here. The other thing is that fig trees and vines are often mentioned together in the Old Testament, which seems to indicate that these two types of plants were often grown together. We read, for example, in Joel 1:7, where the Mashiach says, or the Father says, He has laid waste my vine and ruined my fig tree. All right? He has ruined my vine and my fig tree. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah 8:13. If we can get Moreh to read that.
We got 3 more verses.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay, verse 10. Luke 13, verse 10. And he was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Shabbat. And behold, there was a woman which had a spirit of infirmity 18 years, and was bowed together, and could in no wise lift up herself.
Right.
And when Yahushua saw her, he called her to him, and said unto her, Woman, thou art loosed from thine infirmity. And he laid his hand upon her, and immediately she was made straight, and esteemed Yahuwah.
How many years?
18.
For 18 years. This woman was in her uncleanness, okay, and we have now the Mashiach now setting this woman free, and we have the whole song with T.D. Jakes, Woman, Thou Art Loose. Okay, so everybody knows that whole thing there. But again, I find it very important, even though we know that they're using the word like Lord and God and things of that sort, but a lot of these gospel southern songs, they have a lot of good meaning behind it, you know, so we're not praising T.D. Jakes, anything like that, because he's actually reading scriptures, and I just found that very, very important. Woman, thou art loose. And that woman is actually referring to the nation of Yashra'al collectively. All right, so we wanted to bring that out. Moreh, if you could do Jeremiah 8:13, because we want to show now that this fig tree is actually Yashra'al.
Yirmiyahu 8:13.
Yes.
I will surely consume them.
Consume them, referring to the nation of Israel.
saith Yahuwah Elohim.
Right.
There shall be no grapes on the vine, nor fig on the fig tree.
So Israel is being compared to a, okay, read on.
And the leaf shall fade.
And the leaves shall fail. All right, so we see what's happening here now, okay, where we now have a situation where the Mashiach now is coming to this fig tree, and we have a situation of 3 years. When a fig tree is planted and it starts to come up, it usually takes a fig tree 3 years for it to mature, and then it will begin to produce fruit. Now, the Mashiach, my understanding is that when he went to this fig tree, it had already reached the age of maturity. It should have had fruit on the trees, bearing fruit, but it didn't. So we have a situation where now the guy or the guy who was taking care of the vineyard, he wants to now cut down the fig tree, but it was the Mashiach. The Mashiach, because the owner of the vineyard is the Father. Okay? The Father sends now the Son, Yashra'al HaMashiach. The one who's taking care of the fig tree, he wants to cut it down, but it was the Mashiach who said, listen, you know what? Give it 1 more year. He just said in the book of Luke, the 13th chapter, verses 6 through 9, give it one more year. But what I want you to do to it this time, I want you to now fertilize the tree with dung. Okay? Dung acts as a fertilizer and it helps it to grow. This dung, in this sense, is actually Torah. All right? You're not saying Torah is bowel movement or anything like that. What we're looking at is the properties of dung and the properties of Torah. Torah helps you grow. Okay? So that's where we're at. So again, it takes 3 years, and so for it to mature. So the argument then, with some, they're saying that this was the 6th year, but I believe it was the 4th year that the Mashiach actually comes to this tree, expecting fruit on this vine here. We can just finish up right quick. We only have a few more minutes.
And the things that I have given them shall pass away from them.
Wow, wow, absolutely, hallelujah. Okay, when the Mashiach goes on to describe the man's disappointment, okay, I have been coming for 3 years looking for fruit on this tree, this fig tree, and I didn't find anything. I must say that my patience with this tree is gone. Just cut it down, all right? Just cut the tree down. We know that when you plant a new fig tree, or just an investigation on this, when you plant a new fig tree, you would not get fruit from it right away. You have to wait at least 3 years, okay, before the tree is mature, enough to bear fruit. This means that when a person comes to look for fruit, it is already in the 4th year. Cut it down, the owner said, cut the tree down, because again, after, in this 4th year, we don't see any fruit of the Mashiach now. Even in the book of Matthew, the 21st chapter, when he sees this tree, the tree or the nation of Israel was supposed to be bearing fruit. Where's your fruit? Even today, when we look amongst one another, if we can't see the Torah in one another, we should also be asking ourselves, where is the fruit? Where is the fruit? All right? Notice the owner doesn't need a lot of persuading, but the vineyard dresser says, give it 1 more year. He didn't say no, it is finished. That's enough, rather cut the tree down. So that's pretty much what I have here based upon the fig tree. And I'll read down a little bit more, maybe I have a little bit more time. And when the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, how soon is the fig tree withered away? The Messiah answered and said unto them, verily I say unto you, you have faith and doubt not. You shall not only do this which is done to the fig tree, but also if you shall say to this mountain, be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, it shall be done. And all things whatsoever you shall ask in prayer, believing you shall receive. And when he was come into the temple of the chief priests, and the elders of the people came unto the Mashiach, as he was teaching, and said, by what authority doest thou these things? And who gave thee this authority? The Mashiach answered and said unto them, I will also ask you one thing, which if you tell me, I in likewise will tell you by what authority I do these things. The baptism of Yehukanah, John, whence was it? Was it from Shamayim or of men? And they reasoned with themselves, saying, if we shall say from Shamayim, he will say to us, why did you not then believe him? But if you will say of men, as fear the people, for all held Yehukanah as a prophet. Now they answered the Mashiach and said, we cannot tell. And he said to them, neither tell I you by what authority I do these things. But what think you? A certain man had 2 sons, and he came to the first and said, son, go work today in my vineyard. He answered and said, I will not. But afterward he repented and went, and he came into the second and said likewise. And he answered and said, I go, sir, and he went not. So we see what's going on here. One said that he's not going to go, but he went anyway. But there was another one now. He said that he will go, but he didn't go. Whether of them two did the will of the Father? They said unto him the first. Mashiach said unto them, verily I say unto you, that the publicans and the harlots go into the kingdom of Yahuwah before you. Okay, because these repented of their works, obviously. For Yehukanah came into you in the way of righteousness, and you believed him not. But the publicans and the harlots believed him. And you, when you have seen it, repented not afterward that you might believe him. Hear another parable. There was a certain householder which planted a vineyard and hedged around about it, and digged a winepress in it, and built a tower, and let it out to husbandmen, and went into a far country. And when the time of the fruit drew near, just like the fig tree now, and when the time of the fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the husbandmen that they might receive the fruits thereof. Who are the servants? We have the time of the harvest is about to take place. Who owns the harvest? Right. Yehovah owns the harvest. And he lent it out to servants. We are all here the servants, all right? So what I'm going to do, Mr. McCall, I'm going to have to shut it down here, and what I have to do is pick up next time with this here, all right? I pray that everybody got some understanding out of this lesson here. I just want to make sure that everybody gets the opportunity to reflect on his or herself, understand the parable of the fig tree. With that, I'm going to say shalom, shalom, mishpachah.
Shalom.